Good evening. Welcome to the Friday evening update on Tropical Storm Iota. Let's get right into this. We're dealing with another Caribbean storm. Now it is November 13th, and we've been having a very busy hurricane season. I haven't really been able to make a lot of videos because of school, but this is one time that I've actually been able to make a video. So here we go into Iota. As always, these thoughts are mine alone, and in making decisions, please refer to the National Hurricane Center, your local weather office, and your local authorities for all the latest information pertaining to you. Well, Iota here is in the Central Caribbean, embedded in a very favorable environment. Here you have inflow channels stretching from the southwestern Caribbean here, and then coming out of the east here, converging. And this has kind of allowed for the system to organize here rather quickly, and you have a mid-level circulation in here that has formed. Let me circle that a little better. That is very vigorous, and how, to the contrary, the lower level circulation is rather broad because of the lower level flow here coming in from the west and then coming in from the east here, and that is, there's an abrupt turn right here, but that is really contributed only to it being oblong. And this will continue to tighten up as this area of vorticity will be pushed closer to the actual mid-level circulation, and this will allow for the storm to be able to organize rather quickly. And once this is able to stack, there's not really a whole lot that's going to be in the way of this right after that. And why that is because this trough here that you can see on water vapor imagery is very, very weak, and is not going to stick around for very long, as the storm will kind of just erode at this, and it will eventually no longer even be in the upper level flow at all. And that is the only thing that has really prevented this from developing outflow out to the west, but that will cease very shortly here. This is not going to have any impediments for very long, and there's not a whole lot of dry air in here that can be pushed into the storm. And I mean, there's obviously dry air to the north here, north of this line, but that is not going to be pushed into the storm because the flow is generally out of the east. And so, if anything, this very moist area of moisture that it has, this bubble of sorts that it is surrounded by, is going to stick with it as it continues to move off to the west. Look at the GFS model here, courtesy of tropicaltidbits.com. Let me back this up a little bit. You can see what is left of this trough. You have this little kink in the flow here that is going to kind of just disappear here. You can see that the kink moves off to the north and is pushed away into the larger kind of tut here that is developed over the central Atlantic. And you can see that the storm is in a generally light wind shear environment here. This is not a whole lot of shearing flow here. This is all very light upper level winds out ahead of it, and any of that upper level wind that is strong is coming out of the storm, which means that it will have healthy outflow out of the north. And if you look back at the shortwave imagery here, you can see that outflow is already expanding in these cirrus clouds that are being pushed out of the storm. Now, if we go back to the GFS model, if we continue this, you can see that this doesn't really change, and it ends up actually developing an outflow channel towards the south, and it'll eventually, if I keep playing this, will develop a poleward outflow channel here, and this will be quite the spectacle on satellite imagery if this does indeed play out. And most of the models do have this getting very, very strong here upon approach to the Honduran and Nicaraguan coasts here. And one of the things that I need to be watching for is when exactly does this stack and when this gets strong. Because if you look at the GFS model here, on noon on the 15th, you can see that it is south of Jamaica here, and it is not very strong, but it is a notable tropical storm here. And so a stronger storm would tend to drift off a little bit more to the north here and would miss the Honduran coastline for a while here, because it will eventually be pushed to the south here. You can see that on this GFS run as it comes in and then dives a little bit to the south here, and that is largely because there is a surface ridge here that is pushing flow generally off to the southwest, and so that would push the storm off to the west-southwest. And so really when this happens and which latitude it is at is the most important thing that needs to be figured out here. And other than that, this is a pretty straightforward forecast here. You have absolutely excellent anticyclonic flow around the system. This is going to have incredible outflow coming out of the system, and it has, you know, virtually no shear over the system, and there's a very rich moisture bubble that it is encased in. And so there's really not anything that is in the way of the system other than time. And if we go to the National Hurricane Center's 4 p.m. advisory forecast, you can see the National Hurricane Center strengthens this very quickly into a hurricane on Sunday and brings it very close to the Honduran-Nicaraguan border here as a Category 3 with winds of 120 miles per hour. And you know, whether or not this actually goes in to the Honduran coast or goes north of that before making that dive back to the west-southwest, all depends on how strong it is when it is directly south of Jamaica. A stronger storm would tend to move a little bit north, and a weaker storm would, you know, follow this track more. And really, it's kind of a toss-up at this point, and we'll see how fast this is able to organize. And this is, you know, a very unfortunate situation because this area was affected recently by Iota, and rather catastrophically affected by Iota. And you don't want to even see a hurricane this close to an area in such a short amount of time. Kind of reminds you of Delta coming into the southwestern Louisiana coastline almost, you know, not even a month after, not even a few months after Laura. But this is a much worse situation, and these people really have you on our thoughts, and, you know, just stay safe here, and also watch, you know, if you're on the Yucatan Peninsula and thinking maybe this is going to come to me, well, yeah, it could. And some model solutions actually bring it as far north as just south of Cozumel here and bring it into the Yucatan Peninsula before turning it to the southwest. And, you know, if you're in Belize, you should be preparing or watching to see what exactly happens. But this has plenty of time to strengthen here. This is going to go very quickly, and this is going to get bad fast. This intensity forecast by the National Hurricane Center is actually kind of conservative, and this storm is, you know, very serious, and you need to be taking this very seriously if you are in these areas. I know this is a very unfortunate situation for these people, and you're in our thoughts, but stay safe. That's all I got for now. Thanks for watching.